Just like you need a license to drive, sometimes it feels like you need training just to get through airport security with your gear and your sanity intact. Whether you're a first-time flyer, coming back to travel after a long break, or simply looking for smarter ways to move through the process, this guide will take you step by step from arrival at the airport all the way to boarding your flight. Think of it as insider knowledge from seasoned travelers who've survived hundreds of flights, layovers, and long security lines. The first golden rule: stick to your ticket. It sounds obvious, but the smoother you are at the start, the easier the whole journey becomes. Being prepared before you even set foot in the terminal is everything. Always check in online if possible. Not only does it lock in your seat, but it often gives you access to faster bag drop counters. Personally, I like using the airline's app because it updates in real time if there's a gate change, saving me from staring at departure screens like a nervous meerkat. If you haven't checked in online, kiosks near the entrance are your next best bet. And if you have bags to check, head straight to the desk. Though keep in mind that some airports now use automated bag drop machines with very little human interaction, so always follow the signage carefully. Here's where a common rookie mistake happens: forgetting to pull out in-flight essentials before handing your bag over. Once that suitcase disappears on the conveyor, you won't see it until baggage claim. Make sure chargers, a light sweater, medications, or even snacks are in your carry-on. I learned this the hard way once in Frankfurt when I packed my only phone charger in a checked bag. The result was a very expensive airport electronics purchase. Now, with boarding pass in hand, digital or paper, it's time for security. Keep your ID and ticket easily accessible. Fumbling at the checkpoint slows everyone down and adds unnecessary stress. I usually tuck mine into a dedicated pocket of my backpack so I can grab it in seconds. If you're traveling internationally, double-check the specific rules. The U.S. is strict about liquids, 3.4 ounces per container, all fitting in a quart-sized bag. But other countries vary. For example, a colleague recently returned from Jamaica and was surprised to learn that powders over 12 ounces weren't allowed in carry-on bags bound for the U.S. She ended up repacking at the last minute to avoid losing items. One practical tip that has saved me countless headaches: dress for security. Slip-on shoes, minimal jewelry, and avoiding bulky belts mean fewer delays when it's your turn to step through the scanner. And if you're carrying electronics, remember that many airports still require laptops and tablets to be removed from bags, unless you're in a TSA pre-check or global entry lane, which is worth every penny if you fly frequently. Even a single shorter security line can feel like a first-class upgrade. Finally, stay aware and calm. Security rules aren't designed to make travel harder, though they can feel that way. Think of them as part of the journey. Give yourself extra time, stay organized, and treat it like a routine rather than a hurdle. Do that, and you'll find yourself boarding with far less stress, and maybe even with a little smile. So while her eyeshadows and powder compacts worked perfectly fine, the 2 pounds of Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee she was planning to bring home were not. That's the kind of surprise no traveler wants at the airport. It's a classic reminder: always look up what's allowed in the country you're visiting before you head to the airport. Regulations can differ drastically depending on where you're flying from or to, and sometimes what seems harmless, like coffee beans, spices, or even snacks, can be flagged as restricted. The safest move is to either check your airline's official website or scan the notices posted near the baggage drop. If you spot something that's not allowed in carry-on, move it to your checked bag before it's too late. If you're flying carry-on only, you'll want to be even more cautious. Security agents may force you to check your bag at the gate if it contains something restricted, which can be a huge hassle, especially if you're cutting it close. My friend once had this happen. She brought hiking poles in her carry-on, thinking it would be fine, but when TSA stopped her, she didn't have enough time to check her bag. The poles stayed behind, and she ended up trekking without them. The lesson here? Give yourself extra buffer time at the airport. If you're not sure about an item, arriving early gives you the chance to check it in properly instead of losing it. Liquids are another universal headache. While you might want to sip coffee or water to stay hydrated before your flight, remember to finish or toss it before entering the security line. Almost every airport has bins right outside TSA designed for this. Don't wait until the last second at the conveyor belt. That's a guaranteed way to get pulled aside for inspection. And here's a tip. Instead of buying bottled water after security every single time, carry a collapsible water bottle. Empty it before you reach the line, then refill it at a hydration station inside the terminal. It saves money and keeps you stress-free. If you're traveling internationally, prepare for repeat checks. For example, if you fly into the US and have a connecting flight, you'll go through security again, meaning you'll need to empty your water bottle again, so just keep it handy. Once you've cleared the TSA officer who verifies your ID and boarding pass, put those documents away immediately. You won't need your ID again until you land, and you won't need your boarding pass until boarding. Have a designated safe spot, like a zippered pocket in your sling or backpack, so you're not scrambling while juggling trays. Tossing them loosely in a bin is risky. They can stick to another traveler's items, slip out, or simply get forgotten. I've personally seen a passport fall out of a bin and nearly get lost under the rollers at the end of the conveyor. That's a travel nightmare you don't want. On that note, consider carrying a small sling bag or crossbody. It's one of my favorite hacks. A 1-liter sling is big enough for your wallet, passport, boarding pass, and phone. When you reach security, you just toss the whole sling into the tray, walk through, and pick it up on the other side. It's safer than stuffing everything into open pockets, and once you're through, you can slip it into your main backpack. Plus, having essentials right in front of you while traveling is a massive stress reliever. Now let's talk about liquids inside your bag. Fewer airports require you to take them out, but don't assume you'll get lucky. Always pack them in a clear quart-sized bag. The 3-1-1 rule, containers no larger than 3.4 ounces, all fitting in 1 quart-sized bag, 1 per traveler. Keep a spare zip-top bag handy just in case. I once had to scramble at London Heathrow because my liquids were loose inside my backpack and a security officer wasn't having it. That's not a fun way to delay your line. Speaking of lines, here's an underrated skill. Pay attention. Every screening area operates slightly differently, and security officers usually announce instructions loudly for everyone to hear. If they're telling people to pull laptops out or to leave shoes on, listen. They've seen the same mistakes over and over, and they're trying to save time for you and everyone else. This is why seasoned travelers often breeze through. They're not faster, they're just listening. Which brings us to laptops. You've probably seen bags advertised as TSA friendly, with flat folding compartments that supposedly let you keep your laptop inside. Don't rely on it. Many checkpoints still require you to remove laptops completely and place them in a separate tray. The key is accessibility. Pack your bag so your laptop is near the top, not buried under clothes. Security is not the time to argue bag design with officers. Just follow directions, keep things moving, and save the debate for your favorite travel forum later. Another small but mighty tip: mind the gap in line. Everyone deserves personal space, but leaving large gaps slows down the entire process. If you've already built time into your schedule, good for you. But others in line might be rushing to catch a connection. By closing the space in front of you and staying alert, you keep the line moving. Travel is a shared experience, and being considerate goes a long way. Beyond TSA, let's touch on visas and passports quickly. If you're flying internationally, always double-check your passport's expiration date. Many countries require at least 6 months validity beyond your return date. I've seen people turned away at check-in because their passport was expiring in 4 months, even though they technically could have traveled. For visas, check entry requirements early. Some destinations allow visa on arrival, while others require online applications weeks in advance. Nothing adds stress like scrambling for paperwork at the last minute. Pro tip: keep both digital and printed copies of your visa, boarding pass, and itinerary. Having backups makes you look prepared and can help smooth conversations with border officers. Let's circle back to baggage for one last hack. Avoid fees whenever possible. Airlines make a fortune on checked bags, but you can often dodge extra charges by weighing your bag at home. Invest in a cheap luggage scale. Seriously, it pays for itself the first time you avoid overweight fees. If you're right at the edge, wear your heaviest clothes on the plane and stuff smaller items into your personal item. Airlines rarely weigh backpacks or purses. At the end of the day, airport security doesn't have to feel like an obstacle course. Arrive early, pack smart, listen to directions, and keep your essentials organized. Treat the process as part of the journey rather than a dreaded hurdle. Do that, and you'll walk to your gate calmer, lighter, and ready to enjoy your trip. Coffee beans or no coffee beans. If you're traveling with children or anyone who needs extra assistance, patience and preparation are everything. Helping them get organized before reaching the scanner saves both time and stress. Loosen shoelaces, unbuckle belts, and slip off jackets or hats well before the front of the line. A good trick is to toss these items straight into your personal bag instead of juggling them on the spot. That way, you're not scrambling and slowing down everyone behind you. I've done this with my niece on family trips. It took just 2 extra minutes of planning, but we glided through instead of fumbling at the conveyor. Of course, travelers with TSA PreCheck, Clear, or another trusted traveler program in their home country will breeze through many of these steps. You usually don't need to remove shoes, belts, or toiletries, and the line itself is shorter. But remember, these perks often don't apply internationally. For example, TSA PreCheck is great in the US, but it won't help you much when you're flying home from Jamaica, Europe, or Asia. My colleague Christine discovered this the hard way. She wore sandals to the airport in Montego Bay and ended up walking barefoot through the line. Her solution was genius, though. She had a pair of clean socks stashed in her personal bag and slipped them on before stepping up. Once she was through, she popped the socks into a zip-top bag, ready to be washed when she got home. It's such a simple hack, but it keeps the grime of the airport floor off your feet and out of your luggage. Now let's say your bag gets flagged. Take a breath. It's not the end of the world. Step aside, let the officers do their job, and wait for them to open it. 9 times out of 10, it's something harmless. A dense charger brick, an oddly shaped souvenir, or a laptop left in the wrong pocket. Staying calm and polite helps you get on your way faster. If something is confiscated, don't argue. You can't change the decision, and pushing back usually just makes things worse. I once lost a small jar of honey I'd forgotten in my carry-on. Annoying, yes, but not worth a scene. Once you're cleared, don't rush off too quickly. Double-check that you have everything. Boarding passes, wallets, passports, phones. These are the items most often left behind in bins. I've been guilty of forgetting a boarding pass once, and it added more stress than the entire security line combined. Be mindful, but also considerate. Don't block the conveyor while you sort yourself out. Step to the side, grab a chair, and take your time to retie your shoes, repack your bag, or peel off those now dirty socks. Most airports have benches just beyond the checkpoint for this very reason. Here's another pro tip. Once you've cleared security, that's the best time to refill your water bottle and hit the restroom before boarding begins. Many travelers forget this and end up rushing out of their seat just as the boarding call comes over the speakers. If you've planned well and arrived early, you'll even have time to grab a snack, explore shops, or just relax near your gate. Think of it as the reward for getting through the toughest part of the airport experience. One final piece of advice. Don't underestimate the power of timing. Leaving home early enough is the single biggest factor in whether your airport day feels stressful or smooth. I like to think of it as buying myself peace of mind. Arriving with time to spare means even if a bag gets flagged or a line moves slowly, I'm still not panicking about missing my flight. Hopefully, these tips make your next security experience less of a chore and more of a routine you can manage with confidence. Pack thoughtfully, keep your essentials organized, and take small steps like bringing socks or stashing belts ahead of time. If you do, you'll not only glide through security faster, but also start your journey calmer than you imagined. And now I'll pass it to you. Share your hacks in the comments so we can all make the journey a little smoother.